We talk about interdisciplinary experiences when people who belong to different worlds meet each other, like experts in a certain discipline who relate to other experts from other fields. The Identities team choose as the main theoretical reference to describe interdisciplinary experiences the framework developed by Ackerman and Baker in 2011. This paper emphasizes three key concepts: boundary objects, boundary crossing mechanisms, and boundary people. Boundary objects are objects but also methods, problems, or questions that are meaningful for different disciplines, still having different meanings in each of these disciplines. Boundary objects belong to both one world and another world, and at the same time represent nobody's land, belonging to neither one nor the other world. Ambiguity is the key word to refer to boundary objects. It is precisely this flexibility of interpretation that has the potentiality to trigger discussions between people with different backgrounds. The boundary objects enact and make visible the boundary zones between partially intersecting worlds. Reflecting about these objects allow people to cross such a boundary. This process of boundary crossing implies questioning one's identity, negotiating meanings, or accepting new ones. Lines of demarcation become uncertain or destabilized because of increasing similarities or overlap between practices. This is a very fruitful opportunity to promote learning about the specificity of different disciplines, but also to develop collaboration and integration between them. Different kinds of boundary crossing mechanisms exist. Each of them triggers a different kind of dialogue and involvement of the different disciplinary identities. The first is identification. It involves questioning the core identity of each of the intersecting domains. Questioning leads to a renewed insight into what the diverse practices concern. The second is coordination. Learning at the boundary is in fact a matter of coordination. Effective means and procedures could allow different disciplines or practices to cooperate efficiently. The third is reflection. It entails learning something new about one's world and others' domain by realizing and explicating differences between disciplines or practices. The fourth is transformation. It leads to profound changes in practices, potentially even creating new disciplinary identities and in-between practices, sometimes called boundary practices. Living interdisciplinary experiences is not easy. Barriers of different nature hinder this experience, such as institutional, cognitive, cultural, emotional, and linguistic barriers. It involves beliefs, values, tools, and knowledge. It requires taking risks, leaving the comfort zone, accepting and embracing alterity. The communication and interaction between different communities can be mediated by boundary people. They can be experts in particular discipline that develop a new expertise interfacing with experts in another field, or researchers interested in more than one domain, or teacher educators at the boundary between scholastic and academic practices. They represent the very division of the interconnected worlds, and at the same time, they act as bridges between those worlds. On the one hand, they have a very rich and valuable position, since they are the ones who can introduce elements or practices of one discipline into the other. On the other hand, they leave a difficult position, because the risk is never to fully belonging to a community, even not being acknowledged as rightful participants.